What's going on, guys? So today I'm making an actual YouTube video. So it's gonna be a little bit more straightforward, and you're just gonna see me and the little evidence that I throw up here. But today I feel like we should talk about Burna Boy. A lot of people from the hip hop community are giving a lot of biased conclusions, a lot of biased opinions, and I feel like a lot of people aren't speaking on what Burna Boy really fucking said. So we're gonna focus on two things. The first thing, which is the more easier thing, is that he said everybody basically in his genre, Afrobeats, was just it was lacking substance. Burna Boy said basically there is no substance to it. Nobody's talking about anything. Like it's just a great time, like life is just a great and amazing time. But at the end of the day, life isn't an amazing time. And one, I really think that's a miserable take from someone who has so much. I think that's a very, very miserable take, especially considering the fact that life is definitely an amazing time if you make it. Don't ever get it twisted. Life definitely has its ups and downs, but if you anticipate that and know that everything in life can't go perfectly, then you should have a pretty good life. And I feel like everybody in the music now is really going to a more depressive kind of, low energy vibe kind of mode in music usually. So I feel like everybody does need to make music like life is an amazing time because it's what you make it, honestly, you know. But I like to really touch on the fact that he said it was lacking substance. Nobody's talking about anything. And I would like to just say that he grossly overlooks a lot of his peers. I like to bring up Tems. Tems is another very popular Afrobeat artist. I like Tems. I don't like Burna Boy, not because of what he says, but I've never really liked Burna Boy's music. But Tems, I could get into Tems, and I could understand what Tems is saying. Um, and she comes on, and a lot of the time, Tems is talking about her struggles or struggles that women face. You know what I'm saying? 5 in the morning, I wake up to fight for my earnings. You know what I'm saying? And there's just a lot of different lyrics from her detailing specifically the woman's struggle and, other subjects. And she's pretty much, and also love songs too. You know what I'm saying? And I would say Burna Boy raps about, or excuse me, sings about pretty much the same thing in my opinion. Um, you know, he raps about or sings about, sorry. I'm a hip hop guy, so this is kind of like a new kind of foray for me. But he sings about getting his power from his ancestors and, all that jazz. And I think that's cool. But I think it's all cap because in order to have that kind of energy, you would also have to have that kind of energy for other people. And he obviously doesn't give a fuck about anybody else in his genre because he didn't even name Tems. And Tems talks about a lot of deep stuff on her songs. Um, you know, WizKid, I'm not really too abreast on WizKid's lyrics, but I know when WizKid broke out, way before Burna Boy, by the way, he was just rapping about trying to make it out. You know what I'm saying? He's singing about trying to make it out, how he was going to be big. Dominique does the same thing. He's singing about the same stuff that everybody else in Afrobeats is singing about, with the exception of, maybe some spiritual lines here and there. But I feel like he really did undermine a lot of people in his genre that actually do. And I'm sure, aside from the most popular artists, there are artists that nobody outside of Africa is really paying attention to. but I'm sure there are artists underground in Afrobeats that have probably better lyrics than Burna Boy. So to say the entire genre, when you clearly don't even have knowledge about your peers, is lacking substance, and nobody's talking about anything, when you could just Google Tems lyrics and see that obviously everybody isn't talking about nothing. I mean, come on, man. How much do you really care, you know? It makes me question all the spiritual stuff he says in his songs. You know what I'm saying? All this, I get my energy from my ancestors, and, you know, all about how he knows stuff, but he repeatedly just looks like an idiot. It makes me think that, where's his mother? You know, I thought his mother was managing him. Surely, you know, someone's manager wouldn't let them say reckless things like this. You know? And I just think it's very, he's a very ego-oriented man. And he's got a lot of nerve to say that everybody is talking about nothing and it's lacking substance, when he's over here in Trinidad throwing up Z-Tech with the gangsters. Where's the substance in that? You're not even Z-Tech, bro. You don't bang with these people. You don't hang on their block. You don't know who they beefing with. And so a lot of people tell me, yo, that shit wasn't that deep. It was. It was. It was to me. I feel like that was a very unintelligent and uncultured move by him. Especially a dude that is supposed to be so high vibrational and, oh, I'm bringing everybody together. But you're in Trinidad throwing up Z-Tech because you want to look cool. That's lame, bro. Spiritually and otherwise, that's some lame shit. You a lame ass nigga. And I'm not saying anything about Z-Tech or 6, 7, all that. Before y'all get mad in the comments and start bum rushing my shit, I'm not even speaking on them. I'm speaking on Burna Boy. And the fact that Burna Boy came here and threw that shit up all casual, like, you know what I'm saying? It was just another day, and he gets up on here and dares to point his finger at anybody else other than himself, you know what I'm saying, and say, these people are lacking substance. Me though, I'm perfect. You know, I'm rapping about, I'm singing about what I'm supposed to be singing about, which is what a lot of other people are singing about. I think even, well, I would go as far as to say, Tems is a better lyricist than Burna Boy. Better sounding songs, more relatability, and I'm not even a woman. And before you start saying, oh, you don't even listen, I have to hear Burna Boy all the time, okay? I live in the Caribbean. Afrobeats is very popular here, okay? Have a lot of people I'm around that play that shit, you know, play Burna Boy, I can't name you a song because obviously I don't listen to the nigga, but I've heard Burna Boy, right? You know? So it's like, if he wants to say it's substanceless, him as the leader of a genre, nigga, that's your fault. Everybody's trying to surpass you. Set the standard as the main guy in charge. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, oh, it ain't got no substance. Really? I mean, come on, bro. Like, I post content like that on my channel and call people out for not having bars and saying stuff. But if you go on my music and listen to my music, I follow suit with what I'm saying. I don't talk about popping perks. In fact, I talk about the fact that niggas shouldn't do stuff like that. I rap against drugs and stuff like that, which is a major issue in my genre. My own genre that I'm doing music in. What I'm complaining about, I am actively trying to change by making music that's different from everybody else's. You're not doing that. Keep it a buck. I'm not saying that Burna Boy's music is substanceless, but the way he carries himself and the energy that he has for other people makes it so that it's like he's lying in his music. He's capping about who he is because he's this spiritual guy that's trying to bring everybody together. Yet he's in interviews tearing down his own people, basically. What's that about? That's not a good thing at all. It's a very shitty thing. And so we segue into the second part of this video, which is what he said about Black Americans. Now, I want to just get something out the way. I don't think he said black people have no culture, right? However, he did make an embarrassingly wrong he made an embarrassing mistake and said he basically was saying that the Chinese Americans, the Italian Americans, and they and all the other, they know where their grandparents came from in Italy and China, and they knew their history and stuff, and was basically saying that Black Americans are the only people in America that don't know where they came from. And this brings me to a very, very, very interesting set of conclusions, because here's what I'm wondering. He's mentioning all these people that came to America from other countries, immigrated otherwise. Why didn't he mention white people? He said everybody on the list. And if he said white people, for sure you would have heard about it. He didn't say anything about white people. He put all the onus on Black Americans. This was a fucking mistake. And this shows you what type of guy Burna Boy really fucking is. He's just another talking head. Because I guarantee you, if you asked a group of 100 average white Americans to trace back their history past 3 generations to where they came from and wherever the hell they came from in Europe, they couldn't do it. Not a group of 100 Americans, they couldn't do it. Maybe 1 out of 100, 2, 3 at the most, maybe could trace back their history 2 generations. But 3, come on, man. You're asking for a lot, right? And so I was just wondering why he didn't mention white people. Now, I'm not trying to come up here and be like, oh, white people, but as a black man, why would you put your people like that, bro? Now, I do understand black, African Americans and African Africans are not the same thing. But why would you speak on black issues, right, and not include the entire spectrum? And let's be real. Chinese people and Italian people are probably the only people that he listed in that little list he made that can trace their family back generations. They're probably the only 2 groups of American hybridized people that can do that on that list, right? That's why, because he said more, but all the articles I could find only list Chinese American, Italian American. Why not Caucasian Americans? Caucasian Americans are not from America. Hello. We talk about how America is stolen land and media all the time. That's probably the biggest group of people you would want to speak on in a subject like that. And he just didn't mention them at all. Just skipped over them. Didn't mention a lick. Didn't say European Americans other than Italians, right? He said specifically Italian Americans specifically, not Caucasian Americans, just Italians. So I ask you, why did he do that? Why do you think he did that? I honestly can't figure out why he did that. But it lets me know, beyond all the fluff that he puts in his music about being a spiritual guy and all this nonsense, he's just another talking head. And this should confirm it for you too, because he just went on a whole rant about how black Americans are the only set of American people that can't trace their history back to where their grandparents and stuff came from, but didn't touch on white people. Now, if you were at all educated, you would know that black Americans are some of the best people when it comes to this fucking subject. Now, I'm not talking about the black people that just assume that we're all from Africa, we should go back. I'm talking about the black fucking activists, of which there are plenty that can trace back to specific tribes, have done investigation on African technology and all that. There's schools, black founded colleges in America that teaches these classes specifically, right? So when he goes, black Americans are the only group of people in America that can't trace their lineage back, it almost seems like somebody put him out there to do that and say that, because it's so dumb and so ignorant that it has to be some kind of ploy for attention, some kind of, you know what I'm saying? Because that's dumb. That's a dumb statement, actually. That's a real dumb statement. Especially not to mention Caucasians either. Very horrible presentation. So, I'm not going to keep up for too long talking about this, but I just want you guys to really listen to the people that you listen to, right? And really analyze these people for what they are, which is talking fucking heads. You should not listen to a lick of what these people say outside of their music. And when you're listening to their music, you should just be listening to their music, because 9 times out of 10, even if it's positive, they don't mean that shit. Okay? Just listen to music. Because Burna Boy, he likes to talk like he's a positive guy. Really, he's a toxic, egomaniacal fucking asshole. And we got to see how did the management let him off his fucking leash? Like, he just went on a media rampage and embarrassed himself, frankly. So, I'm Sleezo. Thanks for sitting here to talk to me today. You know who Burna Boy is now. Please don't forget. Like and subscribe. Comment I want to know what you guys think. Alright? My personal opinion is cool, but I want to know what you guys think. Now, it's fact. Everything I said about him not mentioning white people, the historical black colleges teaching these classes, all that is facts. That's not my opinion. That's facts. Right? So, don't let that, think about that. Just think about that. He targeted black Americans specifically. Why did he do that? If you ask yourself any questions after this video, ask yourself why the fuck he did that. I love you guys, man. Peace.